I was in the kick line, and the libel show, my bosom's 2 tennis balls fell out and caused some confusion on it. My congratulations to the class of 2009 and to your families and to your teachers. This is a proud day for all of you. You have achieved something really significant. Now, confidence, pride, these are great virtues, but it is possible to have too much of them. Let me give you an example. This is the transcript of a radio transmission between a British naval ship and the Irish Coast Guard off the coast of Kerry in October 1995. Irish, please divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid a collision. British, recommend you divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid a collision. Irish, negative. You have to divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid a collision. British, this is the captain of a British Navy ship. I say again, divert your course. Irish, negative. I say again, you will have to divert your course. British, this is the aircraft carrier HMS Britannia, the second largest ship in the British Atlantic Fleet. We are accompanied by 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, and numerous support vessels. Demand that you change your course 15 degrees to the north. I say again, that is 15 degrees to the north, or countermeasures will be taken to ensure the safety of this ship. Irish, we are a lighthouse. Your call. Pride goeth before the fall. The ancient Greeks understood this. They wrote about hubris, the tendency of men to become intoxicated with their own greatness, to not see the limitations of human behavior. Now, as you may have guessed, the story about the lighthouse is apocryphal, but here's a story that's not. I have had my own experience with hubris. I was cocky when I was a third-year law student here. I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I thought I could get a job as a reporter at the Wall Street Journal. I had worked in the summer for a law firm that represented the Journal, and I had a good reference. So I wrote a letter to the editor whose name I thought was Arthur Taylor. After I mailed off the letter, I decided to check the name by looking at the masthead in the newspaper. Whoops, his name was Frederick Taylor. So I hastily wrote another letter saying how embarrassed I was to have misspelled his name, but could I still come to see him about a job? I got back this letter. Dear Mr. Thomas, you also misspelled the word embarrassed. Sincerely, Frederick Taylor. Now, I've had a good career, though not at the Wall Street Journal, but I learned, I hope, to be more humble. I want to talk to you today about humility, because I think it has become an underrated virtue, and because I think it is sometimes misunderstood. Humility is too often associated with meekness and self-doubt. I see it in a different way. I see humility as a true measure of confidence. Let me explain to you what I mean and how it applies to you. You have all been told since childhood how great you are. And don't get me wrong, you probably are pretty great. On the whole, affirmation and self-esteem are positive things, but the fact is you can overdo praise. If you are constantly being told how great you are, it can be addictive. You need constant injections of praise. It's never enough. I teach undergraduates at Princeton, and they're mostly wonderful kids, but I have noticed that they are expert pleasers. They're very good at getting adults to tell them how great they are. And if we don't tell them, they get sort of pouty. The big student complaint at Princeton is about grade deflation. The administration tried to reduce the percentage of A grades from 50 to 35%. You'd have thought the students were being told to take vows of poverty and chastity. What's needed here is a little realism. All kids are not above average, no less at Princeton than at Lake Wobegon, and acceptance of the limitations of human nature, that's a healthy thing, both in your knowledge of others and yourself. The flip side of humility, of course, is pride. I am always amazed by the huge role pride plays at home, at work, in all our daily lives. How proud we are, all of us, and how easily wounded we are when we feel that our pride has been somehow slighted. Pride can be a virtue, of course. Pride can make you work harder, stand up straighter, be the best that you can be. But pride is also one of the 7 deadly sins, and for a reason. And indeed, it is the chief of all sins, according to Dante, because it was the sin that caused the devil's fall. Here on earth, it has caused more wars, divorces, family breakups, and just plain foolishness than any other human attribute. Pride can be good. Pride can be bad. You have a choice, it seems to me. You can be the slave of pride, or you can understand it, be sensitive to it in yourself or others, but not be mastered by it. Now, what does that mean for you as lawyers going out into the world? I think that lawyers have too often become the servants of pride, their own pride and the pride of their clients. Back in the day, there was an expression, a good lawyer is a lawyer who keeps his client out of court. I don't hear that so much anymore. It seems to me there's more emphasis now on combat, on battling the other side. Lawyers are fighters, warriors. The idea is to overwhelm, to grind down the opposing party. At the same time, there's a tendency for lawyers to become yes men and yes women, to tell their often high-paying clients what they want to hear, that they can do whatever it is they want to do. Where, you might ask, were the lawyers in the Enron scandal or the endless debacles that have engulfed Wall Street? Where were the lawyers who said no to their clients, who work with clients to help them see the weakness of their case, who could tell them that, regardless of the law, what they wanted to do was wrong or would backfire or just get them into more trouble down the road? Where are the lawyers who act not merely as advocates, but as counselors, who see their clients as fallible human beings and not just as billable hours? Now, it requires confidence to be that kind of lawyer, the kind of lawyer I'm talking about, to say no to clients who want to push it, to be more of a peacemaker than a gladiator. So what kind of lawyer has the confidence to deal with his or her clients that way? It's a lawyer who is confident enough to be humble. What is real confidence? Real confidence is not pridefulness and arrogance. That's insecurity. In my experience, and I suspect in yours, people who bluster and pretend to know it all are actually anxious and insecure. I think that's true of most arrogant people. They're really just faking it. They're afraid someone will pull back the curtain and see a little person sitting there like the Wizard of Oz playing an organ. The truly confident people I know, on the other hand, are self-knowing enough to be humble, to sense their own limitations and the limitations of others. They are not just smart, but wise. They have a genuine appreciation of the pitfalls and the limits of human nature. In college, you were required to take courses in the humanities, literature, philosophy, history, but I sometimes worry that the humanities have become over-specialized and esoteric. If you had that great 11th grade English teacher, that wonderful history professor in college, great, you're lucky. But if you didn't, or even if you did, you can teach yourself. There are libraries and bookstores full of wisdom. So here's a suggestion. In between studying for the bar exam, read a good novel or a biography. Observe and think about the behavior of others. Or here's a more radical idea. Go back and look at your case books from first year in contracts or torts. Law cases are often incredibly revealing case studies about human nature. The common law is wise because it was achieved through genuine human experience and over time, because it is derived from actual human conflict. I never practiced law, but I got a lot out of law school. I learned how to think and to write more clearly, and from the study of law and its attempt to bridge human differences, I gained a much better appreciation of the complexity of human nature. More importantly, I also got married in law school to my wife of 34 years, Zosie Thomas. We met in civil procedure class. So here's my hope for you, class of 2009. Think about your character and be honest about your own flaws or limitations. Go forth and succeed as you will, but remember, be humble. You'll be better lawyers and happier ones too. Thank you very much.